Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Yahweh being the true name of Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being named for His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls God, Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, the touch of truth and will well. Salutations to you, hopefully I push in this truth in all honesty and sincerity. Spell Yahweh Sop, catching the lesser spirit power, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and a lot of people want to recognize him as such a great man because he ended segregation, basically, or his movement helped end that. We come to tell you, though, he deeply regretted that entire movement. That's a lot of people don't know, and what he did was not right in the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. Because truth behold, the person that was leading that marching and stuff like that, those are actually God's chosen people, and he never wanted us to integrate and try to be one with the heathen. We're supposed to be above the heathen upon the face of this earth. And in fact, integration, yes, it did end a lot of inconveniences as far as you not being able to travel freely in Babylon the Great. Once upon a time, if you got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time at a vast majority of places, you were killed. You couldn't just go to any gas station you wanted to go to. You couldn't just go and get any food from anywhere like we can today. For the most part, it's still bad to go to certain places. Some of these hick towns, yeah, you can get your ass lynched. But for the most part, that movement ended quote-unquote inconveniences, but it was a big dagger as far as our prosperity and the movement that was happening amongst our communities. So-called black people were beginning to prosper at an extremely rapid rate, and it's obvious why that was happening, because if you didn't know, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Hebrew Israelites, of God's chosen people. So we have a special gift and talent, and every single empire we've been in, we've been the ones to build it all up. Everything you see in America was built by the Israelites, man. Okay? And so what Esau began to see is situations such as this right here. Black Wall Street. All right, the devastation of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. In 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood district, known as Black Wall Street, was one of the most prosperous African American communities in the United States, and it got that way extremely fast. Okay, and this is during a time of quote-unquote segregation. Our people were beginning to show that we really are the chosen people, and Esau, Edom, so-called white people, saw that as a threat. So they staged an event saying that a so-called black man raped a white woman, which she came out and said herself that she lied. And they used that to catalyst bombing and completely destroying the entire city, man. That entire district was wiped out. This is 35 city blocks went up in flames. 300 people died. They didn't even find all the bodies. Still to this day, they're trying to locate those that were killed. 800 were injured. They have mass graves all over that city, man. And what Esau Edom saw is that this city, as much as others, would be doing the same things. Before you know it, so-called black African American people would be taking over America because of the success rate and how fast we were successful. So what they needed to do is they needed to monitor that progression and control that progression. So they set up individuals such as Martin Luther King Jr. to integrate, because if we had to go to the same schools, well, guess what? The teachers could make sure we stayed behind. Their Edomite teachers can make sure we stay behind. The treatment was never truly equal, and it became a huge movement to slow us down. So they set up this man to declare that he had a dream that we were one, when the scriptures say we are not. We are God's chosen people, Yahweh's chosen people. Okay? And what you're seeing in this picture is Martin Luther King Jr. photographed with one of the Rothschilds. If you don't know who the Rothschilds are, those are the real rulers, the physical the physical demonic counterparts of Satan, the rulers of this earth right now. They own all the central banks and they control everything on they fund all the wars. All right, so they funded this man's movement, okay, to do the things that he did to keep us down. Now, fast forward today, our people are completely lost and gone after this whole desegregation thing. Our people have no idea who they are, no idea they're the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. They still have to run a really hard race to catch up, to make it in this society, and they got to jump through hoops, you know. And ultimately, you know, they end up loving their slave masters. A lot of these people still worship these Edomites to this day. And meanwhile, while you're sitting here trying to accept these people as being equal to you, they plot against you and do all types of evil and wickedness towards you. And you're sitting up here marching, you know, for things that happened, you know, to George Floyd. Well, what was this movement supposed to do then, if you still got that going on? That means that hatred is still there. There's always been a war between Jacob and Esau. And you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're descendants of Jacob. And these so-called white people are descendants of Esau. So there's always going to be a division. And this is a statement that Martin Luther King made before he died. He said, "I fear I may have integrated my people into a burning house." He regretted it. And he was also making moves to link up with Malcolm X. And they were going to start telling people that the so-called Negroes were the true Hebrew Israelites. And that's when the assassination came. Okay? Now here you see, this is the result of when you try to integrate with Esau Edom. Look at that so-called black woman sitting there, just getting stuff dumped on her head, ganged on by all them Edomites in there, man. You see? There was nothing but suffering that came to try to do that. I mean, yes, we do have a lot of conveniences behind that. I will say that. Because, you know, the things that they had to go through at that time period, yeah, you really couldn't go a lot of places, man. You know, nowadays we can. But ultimately, trying to be equal to them is where the sin comes in. We should have stayed in our own communities and prospered amongst ourselves. But they took that whole movement and really tried to merge with Esau Edom, and all they did is hold you back even further. Okay? Because this is an example of us prospering even during segregation. And this is what they feared. And our people lost this mentality of being successful like this and creating things for ourselves. They completely lost it when they wanted to be so-called white people at that point. All right, this is Jeremiah 23 and 25. It says, "I have heard what the prophet said that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed." That's exactly what Martin Luther King Jr. did, man. I had a dream, I had a dream. That dream ended up turning into be what he said, and he said out his own mouth, ended up being a nightmare. He saw what he did, and he basically set his people up as a trap to be further held behind and further controlled. Okay? This is 2 Corinthians 6 and 17. It says, "Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." It's supposed to be separate. Our people are supposed to be sticking together. And when we do, we get successful as individuals such as Mansa Musa, man. Or King James. You know, at one point we ruled Europe during the ages of the Moors. When we were separate from Esau Edom, we prospered all the way. Okay? This is the book of Matthew 15:24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is only coming for Israelites. So if he's only coming for Israelites, why are you sitting here trying to make yourself equal to an Edomite? That's the bottom of the barrel of all the heathen nations. The Lord made it very clear that he is a separatist, or what some people will say, a racist, because a racist means you just be about your people. Look at this statement here, Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God. Yahweh thy God have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So if the Israelites are above all people, why are they marching to be equal to these Edomites, who at the end of the day will never accept you as their equal? You could try to make marriages with them all you want to. All you're doing is you're just setting yourself up even further. You got a lot of these quote-unquote interracial marriages, man. And then little kids end up getting molested by all them damn Edomite grandparents and aunties and uncles and stuff, man. They always look at them as an outcast, as a disgust. You won't be accepted, and you shouldn't want to be accepted. You should want to be about your people, your holy heritage. 2nd Esdras 6:56. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So as far as the other people, he said, they just like spit. That's a bold statement. Does this sound like he's going to be with them merging, his chosen people, merging with Esau, Edom? No, man. That's why he said be separate, man. And that's why Martin Luther King Jr. began to regret his entire movement. He said, I fear I have integrated my people into a burning house. And he said that dream ended up turning into being a nightmare. So, hey, man, those are exact statements that came out his mouth. Because he saw that there would ultimately never be a full 100% change as far as us being treated the way we're supposed to be as kings and princes and princesses. Until Yahweh Bashim Yahushai comes, man, we ain't about to be on top. We're stuck on the bottom. But don't be trying to be as one with these Edomites, thinking that's going to make you have a better case. You end up trapping yourself. And you get yourself killed if you're not careful. You know? So this is just a quick lesson going into this holiday that came up, so you can understand that movement ultimately was a big mistake. If that movement didn't happen, we probably would have been taken over so-called America, man. So that was definitely, a selling out funded mission by setting this man up. And once he began to see that he was making a big mistake, they took his ass out, man. So with that, I'm gonna close out and give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, that taught us truth and will well. Recite this to hopefully like pushing this truth in all honesty and sincerity. Shalom.